right, welcome to the Letdown. I'm your host, Chris LaFleur. We'll go to Misha there.
We got three co-hosts. That's how this one's gonna work. I'm Misha.
And I'm Justin.
All right. So this is going to be our introductory podcast. We're just going to introduce ourselves, tell you a little bit about ourselves. I think the podcast is mainly going to be just talking to some fellow Canadian archers about the Canadian archery scene, and as the title sort of alludes to, times you should have let down. I think a lot of podcasts talk about all the positive things in archery, but there are times where letting down is probably the better option, and sometimes we don't take that option. I'm going to start with just talking about a little bit of my history in archery. It all started when I watched the movie Rambo 2. He had a Hoyt, and I'll have to figure out what bow it is. I'll have to look it up sometime, but I don't know if it was a Super Slam or whatever, but it's a Hoyt bow, and he had an explosive tip on it. I remember him shooting another soldier, and the guy blew up, and I was like, I gotta have one of these things. It's way too awesome. So I got one. I got a bow similar to it. It wasn't a Hoyt. I couldn't afford it. I was a 16-year-old kid. I worked as a janitor through high school and college. That's how I put myself through college. So I remember picking up this bow. I went to the Sudbury Archery Shop. It was the only archery shop in town. You couldn't buy bows anywhere else. This was the only place you could buy a bow. And it was in the basement of this old store. I don't remember what was on top of it, but I remember walking in and there was bows everywhere. So there was, compound bows, recurves, etc. I obviously wanted a compound bow. That was the most awesome thing to me. So I bought one. I don't remember the brand. It wasn't a name brand. It wasn't Darton or PSC or anything like that. And it was actually a company from Manitoba. I remember telling him they made the bows in Winnipeg. And so I bought a bunch of arrows. I remember taking it home. My dad set up the backyard. He set a range in the backyard, some hay bales and an old mattress. And after 3 shots, I was shooting through the hay bales, through the mattress, and then into the neighbor's house. And that's when we decided that was a bad idea. So, yeah. So,
You're a problem child, weren't you?
I was, yeah, actually.
Yeah.
A little bit. So,
did it do any damage to your neighbor's house?
No, I didn't tell him, first of all, but I didn't do a lot of damage. It kind of, I don't know, in Sudbury we have a lot of these, the basements are all concrete to a certain height, and then you build the house on top of that. So we went into the concrete, and I just pulled it out and never said a word. I think he was at work. So then I can't remember what we built a target out of, but we built some targets, and I was able to keep them in the yard, and it's actually developed quite a good shot. You were shooting with your fingers. There was no release at the time, and if there was, I didn't know about them. I think there was an old release where you grabbed the thing. There was like a string you would put on top. It was before D-loops, but I didn't have that. I was just using my fingers. So I had a glove. You had the steel plate with all the pins, and then you adjusted your pins to whatever height you wanted, and you shot from there. I got pretty good. Like I got decent, where I could shoot rabbits and grouse and that sort of thing. Then life moves on. I graduated college and I moved to Toronto, and I lost the bow, and I couldn't afford to shoot archery anyways. I was living in Toronto. It was expensive, and I kind of lost touch. I lost touch with a lot of things, being outdoors a lot, because when I was a kid, I was always outdoors. I don't know about you guys, but as a kid, I grew up in the outdoors. My dad loved to fish. He loved to hunt. He loves grouse hunting. It's his favorite. That's what he loves doing. And I remember him thinking when I got the bow, he thought, this is the stupidest thing ever. And then he eventually got one. When I was about 17, he bought a bow and he got into it as well. We tried some grouse hunting with it. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. And then, move into 2020, COVID hits, and Valerie's like, we got to do something outside. We can't just sit in the house, and so we bought bows. I remember my first bow was the Bowtech Convergence. I remember the Valley, man, that thing would pull your arm off. I had it at 50 pounds. I had it on comfort, but again, I was still new to using a release too, so can't totally blame the bow, but it was terrible. And then I dry fired it. out of frustration. And then I moved on to not a PSE, a Prime Centroid, which was actually it was quite a good bow. I really enjoyed shooting that bow, and then from there I got an Elite Victory. I got into target bows and into tournaments, and you guys kind of know the rest of the story. I took over managing Royal City Bowman, the memberships. That's how I met both you guys probably, and yeah, that's kind of my archery story from there. So
Great story.
That is
I
very
think,
good.
well, I think because of COVID, a lot of people got into archery, right? Because it's one of the only things you could really do
yeah,
outside.
Yeah,
Like quite a
I
few of the
didn't
guys
actually
that
start
we
till
shoot
after
with.
COVID either,
Yeah.
or around COVID.
yeah, yeah. Because I met Justin at Shooter's Choice. I remember
Yeah,
we would go Friday nights because that's when Valerie and I would be free, and we were shooting indoors at the time. And I remember thinking, I don't know who these clowns are, but but they would always they were really nice. Like they would always order pizza. They would share it with everybody that was there. The Christian was there as well.
yeah.
A couple of
Trevor.
guys, Trevor, yeah, that's how I met Trevor as well. And I remember I was trying to help Christian with his shooting because he was having some issues, and that's how kind of we became really good friends. Like it was pretty fast. We became good friends. Then when I took over Royal City, I needed help, and I got Justin to come in and help me at the time. He wasn't an official part of the board, but he came on to sort of help us, and he did a lot of work at volunteering. He still does a lot of work at the club. So um, yeah, but yeah, we met a few people. We met a lot of people. Like I know you, Misha. You guys, you probably met a lot of guys there at the club as well. So you guys had your own WhatsApp group for league and stuff. So yeah, but yeah,
Yeah,
it's been quite
having a
it's been quite fun.
yeah, man, having a club to go to and like meet the people you meet, it makes it a lot more fun. Um, and
I think the I think the
we
archery. Sorry, go ahead. It,
yeah, like I went the first day on this. I remember it was a Sunday because I was talking to Chris about getting membership, and I told him I would show up Saturday and then miss the days up. So I showed up there at Sunday at 12, thinking that he was supposed going to be there, but it was supposed to be Saturday at 12. And I called him like, "Yo, where you at?" He goes, "I was there yesterday. You didn't show up." And I go, "I thought that was today." And you told me just to walk in, so I did. So I left my truck at the front gate, and then John and Charles showed up with John's girlfriend, and they didn't even like ask me how I got in. I just went, "Oh yeah, Chris said I'm okay for the day, so don't worry." And they go, "Yeah, we were wondering how the fuck you got in here. 'Cause the gate's locked." I'm like, it's complicated. It's complicated. Um, yeah, but that was the first time I ever went to Royal City. First time I shot 3D. I shot horribly. And then literally right after that, John asked for my phone number. Then we made a group chat of him, Charles, and I. And then we went again and again. And then we met James. We added James. And then we met Adam. Added Adam to the group chat. And yeah, I think the group chat's just been growing, honestly.
Yeah, it's
So we'll
nice to
just
have
text.
that kind of thing, right? In the I know Justin was probably going to say this, but in the archery community, I find so before I was into I've always been into guns and like rifles and the handguns, and shotguns, right? So I've always loved doing that. And when I was a competitive pistol shooter, people aren't as friendly. Like they don't if you're not top of the class, they don't really want anything to do with you, right? They don't really want to talk to you. So I was always kind of middle of the road. I was a decent shooter, but I wasn't great. And you'd go to all these matches, and kind of nobody really talks to you. You kind of try to talk to a couple of guys, and you make a few connections. But I found in archery, it's like, man, like I know so many people do just because they have a bow, right? So
Even like going to events now, it's like the first event I ever went to, I started talking to a few people. Then they were at the next event, started talking to them, and then by the third event, we're friends on Facebook or Instagram, whatever, and chatting up, having lunch. Like it's a fast-growing community if you're part of it, which I really like about it. It's not like, I don't want to say the shooting range, because there's a lot of two sides to that coin. I think in archery, everybody's just there to have fun.
Yeah.
I haven't met a single person where I'm like, fuck you, I don't want to talk to you. So, like, everybody's talking to everybody, everybody's friends, everybody wants each other to do better and have their best score, right? But we're still competitive, but nobody's mean about it.
And you just gotta ask them about their bow, and they'll tell you all about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like the site they have, what strings they have, where they got everything. Like it archery is a fantastic community.
God, ask a gun guy, what he's got on his rifle. Half the time they'll tell you to fuck off.
Exactly.
Like, jeez, man. I'm trying to start a conversation here.
Yeah, I found that it was quite difficult. Yeah, and just to get back to the clubs, it's very welcoming. Like, even today, Justin can tell you, we had a young kid join today. He was probably like 7 or 8.
He's 8.
Yeah, he's 8. Jackson, I think his name was. His mom was a little. They're both a little bit shy because they don't know anybody. But I sat with that kid for probably an hour, just as I'll be honest with you guys, like, that's probably my favorite people to work with as beginners. I love working with beginners because that was probably the best time for me in archery. It was, even though it was, I can't explain it. It's like your growth was. It's like it's not flat, right? Like right now, I kind of went like this, and now I'm just like this, right? I'm just kind of flat, and every once in a while I get a little blip, and then I'm flat, and it's frustrating because you're like, man, oh man, I see all these guys, they're shooting a 400 score on a 3D round, and I can't break 400. I broke 400 once my whole life, right? And at a tournament. So yeah, it's that's why I love the beginners. They don't know what they're kind of getting into at that point. It's still fun, not taking it too seriously. Like, I do sometimes take it pretty seriously myself. I got a little bit hard on myself, but I gotta also be realistic, because I spent a lot of time running this club, running Royal City Bowman. It takes up a lot of your time.
Give yourself some credit there, Chris. You do a lot of work, man. We appreciate you.
Yeah, felt all around, dude.
So Justin, how did you get into archery?
Well, like I said, I first started off as a gun guy, shooting trap Wednesdays, Sundays, faithfully, actually an RSO at a gun range in Brant County, or in close to Brantford. And then it was actually my mom who started my whole archery thing, and she kept poking. She's like, "You should get a bow. You should do archery." And I'm like, "No, no, no. I'll just stick to my guns because it's way cooler, right? You know what I mean?"
Big thing go bang.
That's right. And then ammo got expensive, and the range was having issues. They were the permits, so they weren't even able to stay open. So, and then there was issues with their board members, and it was a lot of drama. Then, so I got a bow. I had my uncle who shoots archery, or did shoot archery, take me to shooters and get me a bow. And my first bow was a Stinger ATK.
That's
That was a
everyone's
nice
first
little bow. Yeah,
think.
probably, but it's a nice bow. Like, it was under 600 total package. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was a nice little bow. Went from like 35 to 70 pounds, right?
Wow.
Like, yeah, like the range is
That's
crazy. Yeah.
For a beginner bow, wow.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So you can't go wrong for under 600 for one.
No binary cam either.
Yeah, so
Just
like
the idler wheel and yeah.
so and then it started from there. So me and my wife, we got bows, and then my next bow after that was a Realm SS, and I got that one used for 600 for the bow. Mike Lau now shoots that one. That's the exact same bow that Mike has. And then I traded. I ended up trading that one in. What did I get for that? I don't remember what I got for that. But now I'm shooting this one here, which is the Bowtech Justice, which I got from my sister-in-law because she wanted at the boob shoot.
Shoot.
Sorry, the breast cancer shoot
Okay.
that Shooter's Choice puts on every year.
Yes, that's the rule is if Cassie gets into a draw, don't bother because she's probably gonna win it. So
Pretty
uh,
much.
yeah.
They have a golden horseshoe up something for sure. Both of them.
Dude, where was she at the Classic? We could have used her for some of that,
We could
the
have,
raffle
right?
stuff.
I know.
Would
Right?
have given
I
her my
know.
tickets and she put it in there and a little bit of
Yeah,
Cassie magic.
100%. Like, no, they had a wedding that they were going to, but I think they're going next year. So it's gonna be like.
Yeah, don't bother entering any draws because Cassie
But
will win them all.
but
So
can we talk about Royal City Tent City that we had there?
yeah,
Yeah,
Is
man,
that
it was great.
like,
it
dude? That was
was
huge.
yeah, it was awesome.
Like, there was, I don't know, 20 some odd plus people
From Royal City?
from Royal City in that
Yeah,
one section of
almost
the
20.
cornfield.
Well,
Like if you,
if you include the wives and that sort of thing, yeah, there's about 20 of us. I think there's 17 on the 3D competitive team, right?
yes,
Yep.
Yeah. So and most of us were there save two or three, and then yeah, Luis brought his wife, and there was a couple of guys that we kind of know that were there, like Johnny Jack's is not officially on the team, but he is. Yeah, yeah, it was a blast. Like that is, Bruno's tournament's got to be one of the best tournaments in Ontario for easily one of the best tournaments in Ontario.
Yeah.
Um,
It's definitely one of the
so
most fun, that's for sure.
yeah, and
well, I had a
that's your
blast.
first one, right, Justin? So
That was my first ASA tournament, and it was an absolute blast. Um, so like day one, I was figuring it out. I got a 175, so it was middle of the pack. Day two, I did much better, but not enough to catch up, right? Like between all the top shooters, but no, it's figuring out ASA. So I got to know if I take a half a yard to a yard off, I can drop my arrow into the 12. So go for center punch and drop it in.
there you go.
At least that's what I've figured out, kind of.
Yeah, I think it depends how close you are, though. You drop a yard at 20, or how far away you are, right? Dropping a yard at 40 yards is different than dropping a yard at 20 yards.
No,
Just the arrow
probably,
slows
but
down, yeah. But yeah,
we'll.
but then again, you're probably, when you're shooting 40 yards, you might be trying to center punch it anyways. Like there's
That's
so
where
like
strategy comes in.
yeah, the strategy is just that's the fun of the game. Like I think CJ and I were talking about that today, and you as well, Justin. Like the IBO versus ASA. IBO is really designed for unknown shooters, right? That's why you've got sometimes you got the really big 11s and what have you on a smaller target and what have you. So whereas the ASA circle is pretty much the same size on every target, even the turkey, right? You get to a turkey and you're like, oh, the whole wing's a 10, and then then you're searching for your 12s, right? So yeah, it's just I'm not gonna say a better game. It's just it's for
More
known
strategic.
for known shooters. I think it's a lot more fun, and for unknown, it's got to be out of this world. It's just
Oh, can you talk
yeah.
about the unknown shoot? Let's talk about those unknown shooters that were at the shootouts.
Shoot
Like,
offs, yeah. Oh, the guy
holy,
got a 14. How the fuck did you do that?
right? Like,
He was
like
aiming for the 12 ring, though.
If, but even talk about Roland, who this is his first year with unknown.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he scored a 306, didn't he?
That's what I mean. Like
Yeah, it's incredible.
those are amazing scores. Like
Was it? Yeah. Did he shoot a 306 or
It was a
I don't
306.
remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all right. It's all right.
Pretty good for unknown, man.
Yeah. Like
I was talking to Peyton about it, and I was like, "Yeah, man, I don't know how these guys can do that." And he goes, "Well, they use very light arrow setups, right? So that if you're off by 5 yards, it's only going to drop an inch or two, right? But then if you have a heavier arrow setup like a 480, if you're off by 5 yards, you're gonna gut punch it, right? Like you're gonna
or
be
you're
more in the
in the
stomach,
dirt.
yeah, or that." Which happened to me because I misranged 2 targets. And instead of like 36, I put 31.
Mm.
And like my left to right was perfect. And then I just got it right in the stomach. So that cost me 5 points there. And then happened again. And that's another 5 points. So like, I think I shot about the same as I did last year. Just those two miscalculations kind of messed me up a lot for points wise. Because that's 10 points. You drop 10 points, you're done.
Yeah. I always say that once you get a couple of fives, pack it in, go home.
You're basically just shooting for fun at that point.
Yeah, especially especially IBO. Yeah, forget it. You get a couple of fives, you might as well just unless you can really rip, especially if they're shooting 11s at IBO, like up 2 5s. Oh my god, please! Like you've got to make up. Well, you got to get 5 11s just to make up for one, right? Yeah.
You get
So,
5 11s to make up for 1 5.
Yeah,
you guys try to beat 10.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I'm looking at my scorecard from the FDC, the first one. I scored a 410. And I got 2 5s and 6 8s.
Yeah, so 12s though, right?
Yeah, I got 12s.
Yeah.
Or
So
sorry, no, I got 16 12s.
Yeah, because you only need 2 12s to make up for a 5, and when you're doing 12s, right? So
yeah, so I mean,
that's the other nice thing about the
I would
ASA
have scored
game.
like a 394 if I didn't get 12s. If it was 11s, which is still with 2 5s and 6 8s is still pretty good.
That's the other thing. Nice thing about the ASA game is that when you shoot a couple of 5s, it's just 2 12s to make it up, right? So that's the nice thing about it. So yeah, it's just I didn't do as great as I'd hoped. I was shooting okay, like 181 both days. I'm not sure how I got exactly the same score. I had less five. I had no 5s the second day, but no 12s. So, and then the first day I had a bunch of 5s, but I had 3 or 4 12s that kind of got rid of those 5s. So, and it was like I think I started on, was it A course? A course. It was so dark, and it's my first time shooting with a lens, so trying to see anything. Like you really have to be able to draw right on that animal and bring it right to your face and have your eye already on where you're going to shoot. Like you already got to pick your. I feel like you got to pick your spot before you're even taking your shot. Bruno tells me he can see the rings in that kind of dark. I don't know how he does it. So, and I don't have a cheap lens. Maybe my clarifier needs to be upgraded to a B instead of an A. But yeah, I had a lot of difficulty on the first day seeing targets. So
we were in the blazing sun the first day, man.
Boy,
that was awful.
Dude,
I would have rather been in the shade both days.
I asked Misha, man, like you had to suck into a bush to even get this much shade. It was
some of us were like walking down the lane into the shaded spot. So we were 10 yards into the lane, waiting in the shade, and the guys are still shooting to our left and our right.
Well, it felt like it was it had to be over 40 degrees easily, in the sun, and you're just sweating. Yeah. It's gross.
Yeah, it was brutal. So Misha, how did you get into archery? I never heard your story. I think you may have mentioned it on Josh's podcast, but I can't remember. Can't remember if he asked you that or not.
I might have went over it very briefly. I mean, if you want like the full story from like the first time I picked up a bow, I can do that.
Sure, yeah, go for it.
Okay. So my family, besides my uncle and a couple of cousins, was never really a hunting family. But my dad knew that I took interest in it when I visit my cousins and they were shooting their bows in their backyard. And I think I was around 10 at the time. And he went to a yard sale and found like an old rinky-dink wooden recurve bow. And like this thing was like carved out of like, like a 2x4. And it had like a leather strap as the grip. And it didn't have a string. So he went in the basement and grabbed literally just like a piece of string that he had in his shop and just rigged it up for me. And like as a 10-year-old, it was awesome. He got me the cheap arrows from Canadian Tire, like the plastic ones. And I shot that thing in the basement every day after school for probably 2 years at like a cardboard target. Because it was like it was like maybe 5 pounds, 10 pound draw. Like it was rinky dink, but I enjoyed the hell out of it. And then when I was 12, I really wanted a compound bow because my cousins would shoot them at their house whenever I went over, and they'd let me shoot it, and I wanted one of my own. So my dad bought me a Bear Anarchy. And I had shot that since I was 12 till I was about 17. Because when I was 18, I got like in a lot of sports. So I'd had like no time, doing football and hockey. So I didn't have a lot of time to shoot anymore. And then I went to college, had no time. So I sold the bow because I didn't need it, but I needed the cash. And then COVID hit, and I was sitting in my dad's basement on the couch, and I was bored out of my mind. And for a majority of COVID, I would watch Meat Eater as a form of entertainment. And I loved watching that show growing up. And I was watching an episode where Steve Rinella was hunting with Joe Rogan, and I think they were shooting or hunting mule deer with bows. And I was like, fuck, that looks like so much fun. I want to get back into it. So literally that same night, I went on Bass Pro and I bought a Bear Species EV, ready to hunt setup. And I was so excited to get it in. And it finally arrived, and I called Triggers and Bows to have them set it up for me. And should have went to Shooters or somewhere else. I mean, they gave me the wrong draw length and all that, but I didn't know. They cut me arrows that were too long, and I had no idea like how to measure for everything. I didn't even tune it. I just went to the backyard, shot at a bag target that I picked up, and would just shoot, sight it in, shoot at 20 yards, back up to 30, as far as I can go, and just shoot that. And I wasn't really shooting just to get bullseyes. I was just shooting just to shoot, see what kind of groups I can get. And then I started watching Chris B on YouTube, mainly his deer hunting videos. And he went to a 3D indoor shoot in one of his videos, and he was doing like a closest to the center challenge with everybody there. And I was like, fuck, what's this like 3D stuff? Like, what are these animal targets? Like, I want to try that. So I searched up like all over like the internet. Couldn't find anything 3D wise in Ontario, which was weird. And then I was on Facebook one night at the gym, and then I saw a Facebook ad for Royal City. I was like, oh, this looks cool. Let me see where it is. And I saw it was in Guelph. It was like at 45 minutes away from me at the time. I was like, well, shit, why didn't this pop up? So then that's when I messaged you, wanted to go, and I went for the first time. I enjoyed the shit out of it. Then I wanted to upgrade my bow because I wanted to take it more seriously. And then I got the Matthews V3X. So big jump there. I got that used off of Facebook for like $1,200.
Chafers.
So it was a good deal. The guy took very good care of it. Came with 2 sets of strings. It's already tuned. So I would retune it to my arrows and all that. And then over the course of that year of 2024, I started to get better and take it a bit more seriously, started doing events and stuff, as you guys know. And then this year, sort of picked it back up where I left off, and still trying to get better, still taking it a little bit more seriously, but still having fun. But yeah, that's how I got into archery.
Yeah, I remember thinking when I met you, and when I first saw you shooting, I was like, yeah, this guy's got some skills. So it was the same thing with when I met Benoit Boulet. He came. I'm. This is like we could have a million stories of how I meet people at the club. So this guy calls me. He's like, I want to come check out the club, blah blah blah. So he comes out. He has his bow, and he tells me, yeah, I used to shoot at an abandoned garbage dump, but the police keep kicking me out, and they don't make a big deal about it, but it's because people are calling and yada yada yada. And so I said, okay, cool. Like, you come by. If you want to shoot around with me, I'm thinking to myself, this guy's got to be some kind of hack, right? He's just playing around in a garbage dump, right? Well, for the first we're shooting, I hit a 10, he hits an 11. I hit a 10, he hits an 11, and I'm like, holy crap, this guy can shoot, man. This guy can freaking shoot. So I'm like, dude, like, you should be doing like tournaments and stuff. He's like, I'm not really interested, I'll think about it and all this stuff. And now look at him, right? And yeah, it's kind of neat. We got some really good shooters at the club, so we're pretty lucky. We're pretty lucky that way. Get to be around some real talent. So at least I'm lucky. You guys, you guys are the talented ones. So
I'm not the talented one. The one on the other side, Misha, is
Yeah,
the
you're
talented
talented.
one right there.
I'm not talented until I
I can
win.
hit things.
Well, I think like some of the issue, like, and don't take this the wrong way, is a lot of people, they put their bows away in the winter, right? So not all of us can be like Peyton does that. Peyton Golden, he shoots a little bit of target in the winter. He tells me, I asked him once, I'm like, well, what do you do in the winter? He's like, I shoot a little bit, but I don't really practice. I just practice in the summer, in the spring and summer. And I'm like, jeepers creepers, man, I'm practicing every friggin' day, and I can't get the scores he's getting. Like there's a lot to be said, and I know a lot of archers that are way better than me have said it. Like, the indoor game really, it really informs your 3D archery. So that's when you're going to see, when you're shooting left or whatever, or you're high left, and why that's happening, right? So, like, for me, I know I have a tendency, especially when I'm under pressure, is to peek. So I'll have the pin on the target and it's floating there, and then just before it goes off, I got to make sure it's there, and I do this, and the bow goes off, and boom, I'm upper left, right? So you don't know that when you're shooting 3D. You don't know that because you think to yourself, well, maybe I didn't see it right, or maybe I was actually shooting there, and it's here, because you can't really see the rings, right? So, anyways, that's just my little theory of where people can really improve their game is to get into doing some indoor archery, indoor tournaments, and so
I used to go
take
to
take it for what it's worth. So
yeah, I used to go to Hamilton Archery Center
oh yeah,
for a little bit during the winter time.
Yeah.
My brother and I. Actually, the first time I ever went there, I was 12 and I had just got my bow, my compound bow, and I wanted to go, so my brother took me. And this was back when they were like in the industrial facility. So there was like 20 yards, and they had like a 40-yard section, whatever. And my brother was shooting like the rented bows that they had, and I'm shooting my compound bow, and he looks over at me, looks over the guys behind us, and these guys are all like the K50 guys with like the 36-inch bars and the 3 pounds worth of weights on them. And he looks at me, he goes, like, those guys are nerds, eh? And I go, yeah, man, yeah. And I'm like secretly like, man, that looks cool. What are you talking about? But yeah, paper targets indoor during the winter time. It keeps you warm for sure. Yeah.
No, no, I know Justin hates indoors, so
I I don't mind indoor. I just
he's lying. He hates it.
probably, but I don't know. I guess shooting paper it's boring. Yeah,
Is it
I
because you're
find it.
bad at it?
No, I can hit the center. I can hit the stupid X on a three spot. Like that's not. It's 20 yards. Like that's just boring. I don't want to shoot just
It
20
if
yards.
you're shooting by yourself, it gets a little boring pretty quick. But if you're having a friendly competition with the person beside you, it's a
It's
little bit
fun.
more entertaining.
Yeah,
Well, we did that all the time, between me and Trevor, because I we throw on competitions with. I downloaded an app on my phone. It was 4.99, and it came with a whole bunch of different things. And it'd be like me, Trevor, Christian, Ashley, Amanda, Cassie, and like top two were generally me and or Trevor, and like we flip flopped back and forth, right? So I can do indoor. It's just 20 yards. I don't want to do 20 yards all the time. And I think that's why I'm not fond of paper. It's because it's 20 yards.
Yeah, I mean you can also like work on technique and stuff.
yep.
You're right.
Because you know what the difference between 20 yards and 70 yards is? 50 yards. It's the same shot. It's the same shot. You might change your anchor a little bit because you got to take you know the you got to line up your peep in your a little more, but it's the same shot. It's the same technique. It's the same form. That's why 20 yards 20 yards is invaluable. Like even if you can like Valerie will. So when Valerie was really like my wife, obviously Valerie, when she was really like doing high end competition before she hurt her neck, like she was spending hours just in our bedroom with a blank bailing, or she'd put little targets up and she would just shoot, and it's just all form and it's because it's muscle memory. I don't know if you guys play any instruments or whatever. Like I play guitar, and just 10 minutes a day of me playing a riff or whatever, I would get better, and I would just spend 10 minutes, and it's like I remember after 3 months, I think I could play like 20 songs, and it's just because I would every 10 minutes a day just playing the same thing and getting that muscle memory down, and archery is the same, right? It's because getting all that it's all muscle memory, and at that 20 yards I find really informs that, and you'll see those little mistakes. You'll see that pin jump sometimes or whatever just before that shot goes off, which you won't see in 3D. You're not going to see that because you're shooting at a black animal or a brown animal, unless you're you know yeah once in a while you'll notice that, oh yeah, holy crap, like that thing went all the way to the left before it went off, right? So. But anyways, that's again, it's just my opinion, and I love shooting indoor because I know a lot of people in the indoor game as well. Some of them are 3D archers, so like Valerie and I are members now of Archers of Caledon, so I know a bunch of folks there, and it's and we go to a bunch of the tournaments. I like going to the tournaments at Hamilton Archery as well. Like they're a very good group of guys and gals. So and it's just people shooting their bow. It's like the 3D club. So yeah, and again, I'll just leave it at that. It's invaluable in my opinion. It's not fun for some. I love it because I just love shooting my bow. But yeah, that's the way I look at it. So,
I don't.
That's fair.
I get it. I find it very boring shooting at paper. But many times I've Robin Hooded arrows shooting at paper, and so I don't shoot two arrows in the same spot anymore.
Yeah.
Shoot
Arrows are
brightest.
expensive.
we're all at that level. That would be
Yeah, arrows
Robin
are
Hooding, right?
expensive.
So
Yeah,
we're all
my
at that level
arrows
right
cost
now.
me $25 a piece. I ain't doing that.
Right?
No, sir. Yeah, like in the winter time like this, that'll be the only time I ever shoot indoor, and even then I have other shit I want to do. Better stuff I can do with my evenings or weekends.
yeah, it's just like, again, it's all about how serious you want to be about your 3D archery, right? So yeah, that's
It's not like I put my bow away, and once it
no,
gets
no,
cold out, like
yeah,
like I'll shoot in my backyard still, but just to keep me warm for deer season and all that. But if it's a cold December, you know, morning, whatever, fuck man, I'm duck hunting. I ain't doing no paper targets. I got other stuff I want to do.
I go duck hunting and then I go do some paper targets. I like that.
Fair enough. Best of
Just
both
kidding.
worlds.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, you know what? I haven't been duck hunting in a while. I want to. My dad has an old boat that I said if I fix it up, I can have it. So this fall I want to fix it up, and next year I want to make it into my little duck boat and try. Because I have a cottage off of Lake Nipissing, and I want to. There's a lot of ducks, tons of ducks. Like you just gotta find the right spots, and I'd like to get out there and just try blasting a few. So, I don't know. I miss that.
It's so much fun.
I used to do a lot of it when I was younger. Like I remember between the ages of 16 and 20, I had a bunch of buddies. We'd go out and we'd duck hunt, we'd bird hunt, we'd moose hunt. Although I've never been able to shoot a moose. I've been part of a couple of parties that have. It's some of the most fun you can have. Like even just being in a moose camp, is a blast, right? That's that camaraderie, and then when you get the moose, it's like a little celebration, right? I think a lot of people who don't hunt, they think we're like these bloodthirsty murderers, but
Savages, yeah.
and it's not really like that, right? There's a solemn moment after you take that shot on any animal, and it's you have that respect, and then you take the animal down, and you're feeding your family. It's you can't ask for more than that. So, but yeah, so I think that to close this off, I think we just you know we like I said, we always talk about all the times that we do well, but no one ever talks about the times they do poorly. I'll start with mine. Before I went to nationals, I think it was 2024. No, it was 2023. Sorry, it was provincials in Ontario. I was at AIM, which, for the love of God, that is a hard course. So I'll give it to Gord Shields, man. He puts together a really nice course, but it is your ups are like this, and your downs are like this, and I think I had the worst shoot of my whole life. I developed such a bad case of target panic after that. I've never missed a target in a 3D shoot. I missed 2 targets that weekend. Um, I was so frustrated when I got home. Like I remember calling Valerie and saying, "I'm never doing this again." I should have, my letdown moment should have been not signing up for the tournament. But I was going with Dylan. Dylan Bravener he was traveling by himself, and he wanted a carpool buddy. So I said, I'll do it. I want to try one out anyways. But I was dead last, like dead last. I shot so poorly, and what did I learn from it? It was just I know it's going to sound cliche, but just you just can't give up, right? It's a passion of mine that I love doing it, and again, there are times where it's frustrating as all hell, but I keep coming back, and I think I don't know, it's the flight of the arrow for me. I know I sometimes I pontificate and what have you, but it's that flight of that arrow. It's just watching, you guys know when you see that 70-meter shot and it just, you watch that arrow just take off and it just floats there for a bit, and then somehow, it hits the center of the target, and you're like, I don't know how the heck I did this with basically a stick and a string. So yeah, that was my worst moment, and like I said, that's what I learned from it. I learned I do really love this sport. I love the community. It's why I do what I do with Rural City, and I hope to be doing it for a little bit longer. But I know I'd like to start really focusing on my 3D archery and um, my archery in general. Is my goal next year is to really start shooting better. I'll pass it off to one of you guys. Worst
So,
moments.
well, I've developed this weird habit of trying to peek. So I'll be at draw and I'll go like this and I'll pull it off my face and then I'll squeeze my release. It's bad. It's why I got fives at the Southern Canadian Classic because I was like, oh, and I'm like, mm. And I don't know why I developed that. I couldn't tell you, but it's bad, and I'm working on. I think because I'm not thinking my shot process through, so or I'm getting cocky and I'm just like, oh, I got this, you know, and um, so uh, like I'm working on my shot process from like saying it in my head because if I don't, then I just screw up and I get fives or I miss. Um, ooh, my release went off weird at the Southern Canadian. I was drawing back, like it was clicked in, and I was like literally in the process of drawing back and it let go. So there's an arrow in the cornfield there. Yeah, I was like, oh, I'm
Was
another
that on
arrow down.
was that on a target or was that where
Yeah,
you're
it
practicing?
was at their
Practice range.
practice range, so it's like in the cornfield, and I'm like, oh, well, shit. I only had four
The
of these
combine
things.
will leave
Now I
that
got
out.
three.
Yeah, the thresher will find it.
Yeah, the combine will find it for sure. But no, that's my bad habit that I've
Yeah.
picked up, and it's very frustrating because I'm like I'm better than that, but I don't know.
So I think the lesson there is it's such a weird sport because you can do it for a long time and somehow get worse, if that makes any
Yeah, like,
sense,
Mm-hmm.
right?
unless you're
It's
getting
Get in your own
and
head.
yeah, I think a lot of times it's what's happening is and I'm no expert for sure, but it's like you're saying, Justin, you're not thinking through your shot. Like when I coach beginners, I tell them like talk your process all the way through, like out loud. And everyone's always embarrassed to do it, right? Oh, I don't want to. But it's like, so when I'm by myself at the range and no one's there, I talk out loud. I'm gonna draw my bow. I'm gonna anchor. I'm gonna aim, and then I'm gonna squeeze the release. Or if I'm using a hinge, I'm gonna pull through my middle finger and the shot will go off, right? So, um, you know, like someone would walk by and think I'm crazy, but I think it's a good thing to do that to learn how to talk to yourself to put thoughts in there instead of letting thoughts come in, right? So
Yeah, that's a big help actually, especially when you're, starting the process of releasing the arrow. If you have a hinge or something like that, and it's supposed to surprise you,
yeah,
right? So the whole thing is you're at full draw, you're in your anchor, and you start, doing your hinge motion. Instead of going now, you go and it breaks. Like you're saying but you're only saying the first part,
mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's a good thing mentally to remember because you don't want to go now or and right. It's just and snap, right? There you go. Little
all
tip for
right,
the day.
awesome, a good tip.
that's a very good tip.
And last but not least, Misha, what's your worst archery experience?
I don't have bad experiences. No, no. Honestly, like I don't think I've been shooting enough to have really like a standout moment. Um, I mean, like there was times when I was shooting for a long time during the day, and then I start getting tired. And instead of just packing it up and going home, I just keep shooting, and then my shots keep getting worse. That's probably a thing for me. When I just want to keep shooting, and I know I shouldn't. But I don't know. This one time when I went to TAC, I would say the time I should have let down was we were at the practice range, and the wind was blowing about 30 kilometers an hour, and the flags were curled over, like the flags were touching the ground. And there's a ram at like 76 yards up a hill, and I'm like, oh, let me try and shoot the ram. No, I lost my arrow. It flew 10 feet to the right of it. And I was like, oh, fuck,
Wow.
well, let me try again. So that's probably the time I should have let down and
Lost 2
not
arrows.
shoot another. Yeah, I lost both arrows because I could not find them. They were buried in the dirt somewhere. Like, we spent like 3 minutes trying to find them, and the people at the bottom of the hill waiting to shoot, they're like, okay, come on. So there's like 4 of us trying to find it, so we just walked down. So should have let down. I would have saved $50 worth of arrows, so I guess that's the time I should have let down.
There you go, and you learned a valuable lesson. $50 worth.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, gentlemen. That's I think that's a wrap. So it's good talking to you guys, and well, hopefully we can do it again.
Yeah,
I look
we'll
forward to
definitely
it.
do this again.
Awesome. How we going, boys?
Have a good night.
See you.
Good night.
Later.